Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Cheers.
I was thinking Duncan wanted murder for Dom.
Just ignore Duncan.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. I am half awake. I took a nap. I'm still not feeling 100% to explain why we're late. I have Julian, my co-host, with me that is here most of the time. Yeah, there. I can do it right most of the time. It's pointing to Dom that will be difficult this evening. I can point to JF pretty easy, but it's the can't get it.
Just yell at us.
Both of these gentlemen have been on with us before. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, and Mark and Richard will be dropping links to their channels. If you guys are not subscribed, definitely check them out. So here is JF.
Holy moly. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm Jeff with Resale Heroes. We are a fairly large eBay store up in Eastern Canada, East Coast. And we specialize in video games and selling all kinds of things that we can make profit on. And our YouTube channel is all about that. Thanks for coming.
Hey everyone, Dominic here, PrimeTimeTreasureHunter. As my name suggests, I love to hunt for all sorts of treasures. I specialize in things that are vintage and collectibles, particularly comic book type of items, but really could be anything. I have almost 1,000 videos on the channel. We'll be there very shortly. And so it's all sorts of topics. There's shipping information on there. Be on the lookout stuff, what's sold. Treasure hunts, garage sales. I love going to estate sales. I go everywhere, flea markets, private picks, you name it. Just started a weekly news recap show. And I also run the Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. So lots of things going on and very busy, but having a lot of fun, and do primarily the vast majority of the selling on eBay with a very few once in a while local marketplace flips.
Perfect. And Dom's group was monumental in me hitting my 20,000. So Dom, thank you again.
Congratulations, by the way.
Pushed me over the edge there, which was really nice. Yay! Just that little tip.
I remember helping with the 10,000 too, but that seems like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy. It has grown. I am going to start the show off with the dolphin. I don't know if Linda's in here. So the funny thing is with my premieres and my chats is that if people join while they're watching something else, it will pop up in the chat if we are live. So I don't know if Linda is here, but Linda, if you are here is a dolphin.
Welcome to the flipping family.
Thank you for joining. Now, here goes Duncan. Duncan put his questions in 20 minutes early because he knows how behind I get. So he asks this every week. And I mean, it is a good way to start the show for sure. So what would be let's just give one or two reselling tips.
Man.
You're in the hot seat.
Starting in the hot seat. It's not easy being in this seat.
Well,
there's so much to say. I'm going to say, I guess, right now is a good time of year to reflect on what went wrong, what went well on the year before. Have simple goals. Don't have too many goals. Don't have 1,000 goals. Just have a few, and just kind of start your year on the right foot and just adjust as you go.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. I would say a big thing would be making sure you take the time to do your research. Kat has proved that over and over on her channel, and I've shown that a lot on mine. There's a big tendency to want to flip stuff really fast, which I understand, but in the course of doing that, you can miss things that are really valuable that you wound up picking up in lots. In addition to that, take the time to research to learn something brand new. So dive into a new bolo video that's somewhere online on one of the many channels that are out there. There's so much great stuff that you could learn, and then use that knowledge the next time you're outsourcing to spot those things. You'll be amazed at things that you see that you weren't seeing before now that you took the time to do that research.
I always say if you're starting out, start in your house, grab stuff you're not using, and it's super, there's no overhead there, and get a good scale for shipping.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say watch getting what you don't like. You have to like it to some extent in order to list it. Otherwise, it's going to sit there forever and ever and just pile up. And I agree with JF too. Just like if you set way too many goals for yourself, you're going to overwhelm yourself. So just setting a few and make them attainable. Don't make goals, since this is the first show of the year, by the way, first show of 2022.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yeah, make them attainable, because if you make them where you can't reach them, you're going to get discouraged. I try to do with a lot of different areas. I try and do monthly goals. That way I can hit it. And then if I don't hit it, I, kind of reassess it for the next month. And I think that is a good thing. Let's see. Duncan wants to know, how do you find time between reselling, life, and family? Do you limit the amount of stuff you list? I guess he means if a lot's going on in other areas, is that gonna decrease how much you're listing?
What a great question. Your question's so good. It's taking up half
You have to
the
get
screen.
above the fence,
Yeah.
JF.
I gotta sit up. But this is a really good question. But seriously, a lot of people struggle with this, and because a lot of people are working full time, and this is kind of a part-time gig, or even just like a side hustle, or like a hobby, and it's hard to do everything all the time. So, man, one thing that you could do is figure out what time of day, and everybody's different. What time of day are you the most productive? And try and squeeze in a little time for your dreams in that day. And at that time of day, even if it's just an hour, and give an appropriate amount of time to everything in your life that's important to you. But not everything requires an equal amount of attention. And give whether it's listing or sourcing or your kids or making food or whatever, everything requires a certain amount of attention, and just build in some margin in for yourself in your schedule, even if you're busy.
Yeah, this is obviously a very important question. Comes up a lot. I have a whole video dedicated to time management tips and organizational tips for people in reselling that could really help a lot of people out. But really, the long and the short of it is you have to be able to do what I call shifting priorities, because there's just every day is dynamic, at least for me. There's a lot of things that are going on, and what one day looks like, on a Monday might be very, very different than what your Tuesday looks like. So for example, like for me, family's always got to take number one. So my daughter's at the age where she's applying for colleges. We're going out for college visits. So if she tells me, hey, there's a date, we need to go visit a certain college, reselling stuff is out for that time period. Like, I'm dedicated to her, and we're going out and we're looking, and that's my 100% focus. But then once I get back from that, now that I know, hey, I made that a priority, I dedicated my time to that, now I've got to make sure I realize where are my listing goals, for example, and what do I have to do to accomplish those and get those done, and then balance that out with whatever other priority pops up during the day. And it could be spontaneous things, like my wife, Mrs. Primetime, could come up to me and say, hey, by the way, I need you to do X, Y, or Z. And then I've got to decide, okay, do I have to do X, Y, any of X, Y, or Z? Do those have to be done right now? And do I have to put down what I'm doing? Or could I put off Y and Z till later and do X really quick right now? So you've got to just continuously just be on the, just be, maneuvering in your mind with all these different things that you have to do, and just, making sure, what your main goals are that you're trying to accomplish, and get those done. And the lesser priority things, some of those are going to get pushed on to the next day. You can't always get everything done in one day, and you have to be okay with that, or you're going to break down.
I do this full time, so it acts like a job for me. So if I would not take off like my my other career, I would work through it. Like the other day, if I had like a little sniffle, and I was like, I wouldn't call in to work if I was a cop doing this, so I would go into work. If something major comes up, then I will shift over and do something that's priority. But I still have to get 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours in every day in what I do here to make, pay the bills and make this work. So if something comes up, the luxury of working for yourself is I can shift, go do that item, then come back and get back to work. So that works pretty well. But as full time, I would do it just as any other job. I treat this just like a 12-hour shift I would as being on patrol. So
Yeah. And I agree. Like, that's the nice thing is being able to do it when you can do it. Especially if it's at home. I know a lot of people like leaving to do it because they're like, oh, it's always there, and they probably, you put more time into it than if you had to go somewhere else. But definitely, like, stuff with family comes first. But for me, if I know stuff's going on, I will make sure that, like, the day before I do extra. Like for Christmas, for example, I did my video like before the family get together, and I just make sure that stuff is done first. And like I said, if it's not done, the nice thing is that you can come back to it. And I try and make that up because, again, like Julian, I use my reselling money to pay my bills. So I do have to have that. But it doesn't. And one thing you could do, like that I will do if I can't list many, is the few that I list, I'll try and list high dollar so that the dollar value is there, even if the amount of items isn't necessarily there. This is funny from Jeremy. He wants to know if I got any beluga whale sounds. I didn't, but I wish. See, if I had been doing this when my son was little, when we went to swim with them, I could have like made a video of them, like my own video. I'll have to do that if I go swim with dolphins. I'll have to have like a video with me with the dolphins. I'm not going with beluga whale. I think they stopped the beluga whale one. I don't think you can go swimming with them anymore. Duncan, I'm not putting your 5 question up. That's like way too many. I'm vetoing it, Duncan.
Send it to the spam folder.
What is a toy from childhood that you regret not keeping now?
Yeah, my Sega Genesis collection. I had a really nice collection with, all that stuff. And I had probably 50 games complete in box. And I ended up selling them like 5 years ago because I was never using them. Made some good money off of it, but they'd be worth probably double what they were now. But it is what it is. That's mine.
Well, I'm actually big on regaining toys from my childhood that I had misplaced somehow. So one of the most famous ones that I have here is my 1970s Shogun Godzilla here, which, if you remember, he spits out the fire like this and his hand flies out. So I recovered him a long time ago, but he did go missing at one point. And then I know a lot of people had this one in the chat. This is one of my favorite toys ever. Check this one out. And I was able to recover this one, the Fisher Price Sesame Street Playhouse. If you remember that, how many in the chat had that one? I have all the little figures and stuff. You remember, like Big Bird would go down like that. So anyway, that was fun. There he is. Right, let's get him go down.
Throwback Tuesday instead of Thursday.
Let's see. You know what? There was speaking of Tuesday and Thursday, there was a if you remember Mr. Rogers, there was a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood. There was a puppet for King Friday, and Prince. There was a Prince Tuesday also, and I had that puppet.
I remember
and
that.
I lost it or got rid of it, or my mom threw it out or whatever. And I looked it up recently, and that thing is worth like a lot of money now. I think it's worth like $100 or something. Not that I would sell it, but I do wish I had that. Some of my Masters of the Universe toys got tossed and thrown out. So I wish I had some of those figures. Some of my Thundercats figures got tossed out. I've since repurchased a lot of that stuff, like a lot of people have who are in my age range now. But yeah, so there were a lot of things that were lost, but those are a few.
Mine would probably just be, I had like, the regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and then I stopped. Like I didn't play any more Nintendos or consoles after Nintendo 64, but I had a pretty good like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 gathering of games and stuff, and I wish I probably would have kept all that. I had that in college. I kept it all the way up until college and sold it in college.
I'm going to say probably the unpopular thing and say nothing. I'm not overly sentimental when it comes to stuff. I'm glad a lot of people are, because that's what makes a lot of my sales. But if I had stuff, I would probably sell it. I would probably sell it. So like stuff from when I was in high school, especially like band t-shirts and stuff, are the ones selling for like hundreds of dollars right now. Like I had so many like Metallica shirts and AC/DC and stuff that like is like grails for people to find now. So I wish I would have kept my clothes from high school, but I wouldn't keep them. Like I said, I would probably sell them. So yeah. All right. Yes, there's actually an update from Mercari as of less than 20 minutes ago when I woke up for my nap, which is again why I was late. They gave me my money and closed the Better Business Bureau complaint, and that is directly linked. They gave me my money, and 20 seconds later said the business states they remedied your issue. They also, though, in the email said, we never want you coming back to our platform. Once you withdraw your money, your account will be forever deleted. And I'm quoting. And they said, if they ever catch me on there again, they will keep all money that I make.
Was that a form letter that they sent out, or did you think that was specific to you? Like
no, I think it was a form. I think it was a form letter. I'm gonna open it, and I think I'm pretty close on word for word, for what it said. Let's see.
Did they make any reference to the video?
Nothing.
Huh.
Nothing, and I don't think Mercari's a $1 billion company. I don't think I'm gonna have anything. So I'll read it. It says, thank you for your patience. We've been experiencing a high volume of inquiries. Your funds available for direct deposit requests. Once completed, your account will be deleted. Please note, if you ever return to our marketplace in the future, we will hold all your direct deposit requests indefinitely. Best, Team Mercari.
I love when they sign it best.
And then they send me, how did we do? Really?
Stupid.
And I started filling it out, and I'm like, forget. Why am I even wasting my time? Why am I wasting my time?
But that goes to show you the mindset that they would even say that. Like they're literally telling you, we'll hold your money. Like, not okay. Well, we'll close you down and we'll send you your money back. They're just saying we're going to hold it.
We're going to take your money.
Yeah, they're literally saying that. Crazy.
They want
we gave you one chance, and we almost took from you. And if you give us another chance, we will. Yeah. So, Thrift Genie became a YouTube member. So another dolphin. Here you go.
Welcome to the flipping family.
So wait, Kat, I have a question. What would you do if Mercari, like a high level just play with me for a second, like okay, a high level Mercari person responds back and says, hey, listen, someone forwarded this video to me. Like, let's say someone equivalent to maybe like Jordan, like at eBay, And he's like, this is crazy. I can't believe this happened. I want to try to rectify this. You tried to do some kind of customer service outreach. What would a result of that be?
I'd tell them to go jump off a bridge and make another video saying they came trying to kiss my butt.
I'm just curious.
Because there are thousands, and somebody just commented on my video a little bit ago. I love Mercari. This is rare. No, BS. It's not rare. There are thousands of Better Business Bureau complaints for years. It's not rare. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm like everybody's, as far as like getting the account back, I don't want it back. I don't care who reaches out to me at this point. And I mean that it could be the people in Japan who started it, and I wouldn't care. I'm done with them just because it sucks, and it's on a lot of platforms. I'm not saying it's not, because I know everybody came back with like issues with other platforms, so I know it's on other platforms. But the fact that it's so automated and that you can't like override that automation by saying, hey, like, hello, like I'm a real person here. I'm not doing this,
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Chrissy's Corner. Do your gross sales include shipping on eBay if they 1099 you?
Is 1099 an American tax reference?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes.
JF is from Canada,
I'm
guys. I
from
don't know if he
Canada.
said that in the beginning.
So
He is a
in
Canadian.
Canada, yes,
Huh.
you do count in the same way as eBay charges you fees on the full amount. They even charge you fees on the tax, by the way, which is totally sketchy. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
So in Canada you do some. I mean, I'm assuming in the States it would be the same.
Yeah. That's why you have to keep track of all that. You have to keep track of all those shipping costs. You have to keep track of any type of fees that come your way, because you got to make sure you're not paying taxes on that. At the end of the year, you've got to make sure you're providing that information either to your accountant, or that if you're doing your own taxes, that you're deducting that yourself. It is deductible. Some people don't even realize that, who are just starting out, that, for example, shipping expenses are deductible. I heard someone ask that the other day. Like, yes, you want to deduct that. That's an expense.
And your gas on the way to the post office too. Not
Yep.
gas, mileage.
Mileage. Yeah.
Either one. You could do either one.
Yeah. Most
I
of
do
the
the
time,
mi-
mileage is a
I
lot
do-
more.
I do the mileage too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just look on your go on there and look at your sales reports that you can generate, all that stuff is usually pretty available. It was a lot harder with PayPal. This is a lot easier when it came down to the accounting part, when it comes to the payment system they're on now. I was been on for so long, I forget what it's called.
Manage
Thank you. Yeah. But PayPal was a pain because you had two different things you were dealing with. Now it's all one. It's way easier for me anyway.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And like JF said too, the taxes are going to be in that 1099 as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And
Yeah.
like PayPal, that's where there was like a big discrepancy with that too. So
Huge.
yeah, there was a big discrepancy. I don't know the answer to this. I know I use Facebook. I'm not sure who else. Does anybody know if there's a way to put Facebook on
Don't know.
like vacation?
I
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat will be able to help us. And I see more income John in here. I just want to highlight him, say hello. John was around the beginning of my channel quite a bit, and I'm glad to see him in here tonight. I'm scrolling. I just got past 8 o'clock, guys, just to let you know. So
Good. We're on track.
Just to
we just
piggyback on
got past the 8 o'clock question.
just to piggyback on something you said, because there've been some questions in the chat about it. Yes, any gas mileage that you are spending related to your business, that is deductible. If you're driving to pick up items, if you're driving to sign up at an estate sale, it doesn't matter. If it's business related, it's deductible.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
people have said that there is a vacation mode on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, good to know. This is kind of a long question. I don't know if we can each give the easiest. Yes, you have to come above the fence. Ricochet Vintage Finds. I sell mostly vintage and one-offs. I am only on Etsy, Facebook, and Mercari. I don't even know how to start on eBay. Same process. Do I list in categories? I have an eBay fear and not sure why.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand up for this question.
Here, I'll take it down. Do we all remember it?
But so, short version, I mean, of course, every platform is different. But yes, eBay works kind of in categories. They have item specifics that you fill out. So, I mean, the best way to get started is to get started. List one thing, then list another thing, and then list another thing. And by the time you've listed 10 things, you're going to have a decent understanding of how things go. But short version, you put a title. A lot of the things are the same, like the title, the description, the price, and all that stuff, the shipping section. What would be different is the specifics that they want you to enter. Like if it's clothing, they're going to want you to put what type of clothing is it? Is it a t-shirt? Are they pants? What's the measurements, et cetera, but don't let that unknown stop you from starting. That's probably why the majority of people never start, because there's some things that they don't know. But it's not that complicated. So be confident in your ability to figure it out, or watch our videos and we'll explain it to you.
Yeah, I mean, the last sentence was what's holding that person back, which is the fear part. You can't have fear of doing it. You just have to make a decision that it's something that's important that you want to do. It's a huge platform. It's a great place to sell one-offs. I sell lots of one-offs on eBay. You're missing a huge segment of the marketplace by not putting stuff on there. I mean, it could be complicated, I suppose, for someone new, but there are so many channels out there that have videos that are designed to help people who are just starting out new on eBay. And there's so many live shows like this nowadays that are available that were not available to people 10 years ago when they were just starting eBay, that you'll have a ton of support behind you to help you. And the very basics of a listing are pretty simple and straightforward, and you'll just get more familiar with it. If you have the opportunity to put things in batches, like if you had a lot of, for me, comic books, or if you had a lot of toys, if you had a lot of clothes, it's definitely more efficient if you could photograph all those things in a category, get kind of like a template going, and then just knock a whole bunch of those things out, even if they are one-offs within the same category. So that's what I would do. Eventually, I know that fear could kind of be disabling, but you've got to try to get past it and tell yourself, have a confidence that you could do it. Like, just one other example, like related to me, or I could relate to this, is with my videos. I bumped up to using a new editing software that I was, concerned about for a while in terms of just learning all the technical specifications for it. But I knew it would be something that would be important to help my channel grow. So I finally just decided I've got to just put down any concerns that I have about, being able to learn it and just dive into it. And that's what I did. And now it's helping me out. So you just gotta make the decision to go forwards.
And when you start getting into eBay, you'll realize there's a little thing called sell similar. And as long as it's like, it is so easy. And I've listed on all of those other than Etsy and eBay. Once you figure out what you're doing, don't do that right away because you have to be in the right category and stuff. But once you figure out what you're doing, that's, selling similar. I don't even make my own, stuff anymore. Like, I don't create my own listing or anything. Most of the stuff that I sell, and I sell some pretty, different things. And it seems pretty easy. So definitely just start, but definitely there's a lot of good YouTubers out there that put really good information out. Kat, you have one out on how to list.
I have a step-by-step how to list on eBay.
It's really good.
And I would say, because I just started listing on Etsy, that I think Etsy's the hardest.
Etsy is hard.
So I'm going to say that I think what is probably what's easiest, because you're saying like you're mainly on Etsy. So to you, that's probably easy, but to me, I feel like Etsy's way harder than eBay. So like Etsy, you have to type in a bunch, it seems like, where eBay has a lot of drop downs for the required, and I don't like typing. So my Etsy looks really blank, and that's probably why I haven't got any Etsy sales yet. But like it just, I use sell similar as well, just like Julian, and you just want to look through those specifics, make sure nothing is different or doesn't apply to yours, and if it doesn't, remove it. But like Dom was saying, you have to get over the fear and just do it. That's the biggest thing, because once you start and have done it a few times, you're going to be like, oh, why did I wait so long to do this? So I think that's the biggest thing. Heidi, I believe Duncan does not like to be seen on camera, because I've never seen a picture of Duncan, and I don't think Duncan likes being behind the camera, and I'm not going to let him come up here without showing his face. So when he decides he wants to show his face, he's welcome to come on. But I don't know that he will. He is working on a top 5 band. Let's see. Terry wants to know, do you delete photos as soon as you list something? She uses a camera, not her phone.
Yeah, good question. So I do. So the way that I do it is, so I do use my phone. I have it connected to Dropbox, which is like an online cloud service or whatever. So I take a bunch of pictures for maybe 30 items that I want to list back to back. And so that might be 100 pictures or whatever. So by the time I'm done taking those pictures and get to my computer, they're all uploaded and they are synced to my computer. So then I can just start listing. And I probably delete them like 20 at a time. So like every listing session, I delete everything that I've used so I don't get confused and I don't like stack up a bunch of useless photos.
Yeah, so I take the photos with my phone, and I instantly upload them to OneDrive. So it's a cloud system through Microsoft. And so then it's immediately available to me on my laptop. So, that saves a lot of time compared to in the past when I used to like email them to myself and then download them. Is a whole big pain in the neck. So that's easy. They're right there. And then I delete them, but they go into my recycling bin. So if I ever do need to go back and get them, which I actually had to do today for my video, for an interesting reason. But anyway, I was able to go there and then I was able to recover it. So just make sure you don't delete and empty your recycling bin prematurely. That's really the main issue.
I do the same thing. I wipe out. I'll do my, like today, I think I listed 20 items. Those pictures are already deleted. Everything's listed, everything's deleted, everything's wiped off. But I do everything on my phone. So I don't do any listing on like the computer or anything like that. I just started using Photo Room, and now I just put it there, do a batch thing on the background. It is sweet. I love it.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I would just say I did upgrade recently to the Photo Room Pro version. And boy,
That's what
that
I
is,
have.
yeah,
Yep.
the ability to use the batch to select multiple items at once and get those white backgrounds done, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's amazing. It's totally worth the money.
It's fun to watch. I'll sit
Yeah.
there and like scroll and watch it like fix them. I'm like,
And
oh.
you can change, like today I was taking pictures of like different color hats, so you can change the backgrounds. I had white hats, so I went to it's well worth the money for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I delete everything as soon as I list it. And then I go to my recycle bin and I delete it from there too at the end of the day. So mine is gone. It's gone. I'll have to retake them. Terry wants to know what we use to create banners. I don't know if she means like she doesn't do YouTube, so I'm thinking maybe like our store banners, on eBay, like to make your header for your store banner. Is there an app that you guys have used?
So I'm terrible with art. I'll consider that art. I have a pro version of Snagit, which is a photo manipulation software that's pretty light for users. But anything that needs to look nice, I'll pay someone $20 to make on Fiverr. So like our intro, I think I paid $40 for our YouTube intro. Like we had a set of social media banners and like we had someone make a logo for us, and I think we paid a total of $30 or $40. Like it's really affordable, and that's in Canadian dollars. So that's like $2. That's like $2 in America.
Well, I did create some things originally for my channel using Canva. I do have a pro version for that. I use that to make thumbnails for my YouTube videos, but you could use it for making a banner for YouTube. There's even tutorials about that on YouTube if you want to see. Also, just like Jeff said, I also will hire Fiverr occasionally for things that I need. So when I decided this past year to upgrade my YouTube banner and my eBay store banner, I did hire Fiverr to do that for me. So they're a great service, and it's relatively inexpensive for what you're getting.
I use Canva, and I have the pro one. I don't know how much I pay a month. It's not a lot. And I also use it for my thumbnails for YouTube. And it's so easy because they give you the dimensions for your banner. So if you know the banner has to be a certain dimension, it'll tell you exactly what that is, because those pixel things can drive you insane trying to get the right. If you ever try to make one in your picture, then all of a sudden it's all zoomed in and you see like a tiny little piece of it, that actually fixes it. So.
Yeah, I use Canva as well. And I have used Fiverr. Fiverr did my intro to my channel. Not my little that's on every video. I sent them the pictures and the words I wanted, and they created the graphics.
People are asking what Fiverr is.
Fiverr is an app where you can get people to cross post things. You can get people to you could get it. Almost anything you need done, you can probably find on Fiverr. And most of it is people in other countries. But I will tell you, I have had like amazing work. The only difficulty I found when I was like trying to communicate on getting it how I wanted is they were the complete opposite time of me. But the nice thing is Fiverr will tell you what time it is in their time zone, which is nice. So oh, it's 3 a.m. That's why they're not answering me. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So Fiverr is basically a platform where you can go and buy freelance services for just about anything. You could pay someone to make a comic book for you. You could get them to make a music intro, and it's really cheap. Like, it's really not expensive. I mean, there are some more premium services, but it's really affordable, and like most of them make amazing work for so little money. It would probably cost 10 times as much to hire someone locally, which if it wasn't so expensive, we would, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, before I had my mom cross posting, I was using Fiverr to get people to copy like 100 listings at once from eBay to whatever other platform. So I used to use it for cross posting as well. Looking up, I'm going to go ahead and answer this just because it's kind of clear cut. Does shipping come out of your account or what is paid to you? It depends on what you choose. So from what I've seen, though, eBay made it a little bit easier. And now there's a checkbox when you go to pay for the labels and it says take payment out of pending payments. And you want to check that if you want it to come out of your funds. But I think it was last week or the week before. And I think it's a good idea. A couple people said they use a business credit card so they get cash back on what they're paying for their shipping. So, but you could always set that as your PayPal, credit card and then do it via PayPal. But I have mine come out of the funds. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Funds.
Yeah.
It's slightly different for us, but we just have a Canada Post account, so we pay everything on a credit card, like you said, and that way.
So, like, do you print it from eBay, or you have to go to Canada Post to print it? Just so because I'm sure there are some Canada people here watching.
Yeah, so we're still old school in some of the way we do things, and that's part of our goals for this year to kind of be more efficient in that sense. But so we do everything on Canada Post, so we just copy paste the information from the eBay to Canada Post, then we print the label from Canada Post and just slap it onto the package.
Okay, so you're not printing labels from eBay at all?
No.
Okay.
Not shipping labels, no.
Okay. Visarbach, do you buy things that appeal to you and then have a hard time letting go of them?
Sometimes, but I mean, we bought it with the intention of selling it. If I want it, I just pay my business partner back what we paid for it and I keep it. But I mean, that's part of the fun is you find stuff you never would have found otherwise. And if you want to keep it, just keep it. But, just remember that you're here to make money, but that's fine.
Yeah, I made a decision a long time ago that I was not going to get emotionally attached to items that I sourced for reselling. So if I sourced it for reselling, I sourced it for reselling. No matter how much I like it, it's going up. And if I see something though out in the wild, it's rare, but if I see something out in the wild and I say, that's really cool. Like I want that for myself. For example, one time I came across this green glass-shaped a green barrel-shaped glass piece that I said, that would look cool in my office. I could put like pencils and pens in there. It was like, it wasn't even that much money. But I said, that was cool. I'll get that for me. So like, it's okay to treat yourself, like get something for yourself. But the reselling stuff, the stuff you get for reselling, you gotta list it for reselling, or you're gonna be holding on to too much stuff that you can't get rid of. Because we do find a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I agree. If I buy it, I usually sell it. But I did buy some like fishing reels from an auction. I was going to buy a new one anyway. I already had that in the budget to buy one, and I had got one for way cheaper than a new one cost. So that one became personal. But it was already in the process of buying a new one. So, but other than that, no, I don't stay connected to anything. I sell mostly everything.
I have no issue, and I think anybody that's been watching me knows that. Like, I will sell it.
You were going to sell all your childhood toys before.
Yeah,
I would. I'm not, like I said, I don't really get like emotionally connected to stuff. I'm not. I can see stuff, but it doesn't, like, I don't want it bad enough to go buy it. to chase it. That's just, and it's cause I don't have anywhere that I would like set up or display something like that. I guess I could in the shed. So for me, if I really like it, I'll put it on my desk in here on my shelf until it sells. And then if it like with the Kachina dolls, which I really, really like, when my supply gets low, so my display's low, I go find more. And then it's like a revolving collection, but I'm not tempted not to sell them.
But you don't actually collect anything yourself? Like you don't have your own collection of stuff? No.
I have 2 sand art pictures, Native American sand art that I got from George the Antique Nomad, that I pretty much had to like make okay, I'm keeping these for me because I like them. So it's really hard for me to do that. And so I've thought about it, but I do nothing little is the problem. If you know me and have watched me, there's no little. So it would go from like 0 to like, oh, look, I have an art gallery full of sand art in like a month. So that's probably another reason why I don't have an issue, because I know how I am. So like when I had chickens, I had 200 of them. Like there's no, I do actually only have 4 now. So I'm keeping it small with the chickens now, but typically I do not. I have a new member, I think maybe 2 new members in a super chat. I want to real quick say hello to Tiffany. Thrifting Vegas is in the chat. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm looking to see, I think Tiffany is on 2 weeks from tonight with Danny, the niche lady. Yeah, she's on 2 weeks from tonight with Danny, the niche lady. So make sure you guys watch that one. And then Jessica Lakey joined membership. So here's your dolphin. And then I'm going to go, Duncan's trying to get out of the doghouse by paying for it. So the super chat is from Duncan. All right, here you go, Jessica.
Welcome to the flipping family.
I'm finding you, Duncan. I have to scroll a long way. There you. Oh, Richard beat Duncan. Sorry, I'm surprised. Richard will message me and yell at me if I miss stuff. So I didn't see that, Richard. Thank you. So Richard says, great panel tonight. Thanks for the information. You are very welcome, Richard. Thank you so much for all your help. If you guys aren't subscribed to Richard, I don't have a link ready, and I don't know if Mark has a link ready. Mark, if you can drop a link to Richard's channel, that would be amazing. Here is your dolphin, Richard.
Super chat.
Now you guys are going to make me have to go to Fiverr to get different super chat things, because Duncan wants a mermaid for Dom. I don't have any mermaids, but I will give you your dolphin.
I'm so touched.
Here is your dolphin.
It'll pay itself after just a couple.
I know. We'll just have like an array. Like you can pick your super chat. There's an idea. Here you go, Duncan.
Super chat.
All right, I'm grabbing the one that just came through too. We have a $10 super chat from Avilama, and we'll go ahead and answer the question before I hit you guys with a ton of dolphins back to back. When sourcing, if you know an item currently sells for X dollars, how do you mentally calculate your highest offer from there? Do you figure a percent or what?
The way I'm understanding the question, you mean when buying the item, how much am I willing to pay for it?
That's my understanding, yeah.
So that depends on a few things, actually. So number one, so we source a lot at pawn shops, but also on Facebook Marketplace and places like that. So we don't have access to garage sales and yard sales and all that much. So just by reading someone's listing, by reading their ad, you can kind of get a feel for if they're open to negotiation or not. Did they say the price was firm? Do they say it needs to go quickly? You know, just in the language that they're taking. And if you see that it's a professionally taken picture, I mean, likely it's a reseller. If it's like a bad picture or whatever, not as good of a picture, you know, whatever. So, but specifically, again, it depends on the item. And you also have to factor in, okay, so there's fees, there's shipping, there all that stuff. And is it worth my time? Like, So what's that number for you that is going to be worth your time? And that really depends a lot. And I would say that the higher, the more valuable the item, I'm okay paying a higher percentage because I'm going to make more money in just one transaction. What do I mean by that? So if I make $5 selling a DVD, I need to sell 10 of them to make $50. But if I sell a Nintendo Switch, I'll make $150 of profit by just selling one. So that's, instead of 30 transactions, just one, and I'm making 3 times the money. So it's just one of those things. You kind of have to find that comfort for yourself. But I mean, I guess anywhere between 20 and 50% of the value of the item, depending on what it is kind of our rule of thumb.
It does depend on a lot of things. One of the things is this something you could kind of bundle into a bulk deal? That's what I prefer to try to do. So I do it a lot at estate sales, so it could be like a real expensive item, but I bring it up in one whole big bulk lot, and then I wound up getting it for a fraction of the cost. If it happens to be just one item that the person knows clearly what it's worth and you can't do any kind of bundle deal like that, then I try to use the rule of thirds, where I try not to go over 1/3 of what the worst case scenario is that I think that I could get for it, because I want to ultimately, at a minimum, double my money. And I've got to factor in fees. If you're doing, it depends on if you're doing free shipping or not. So you got to work that into it as well, because then you got to work the shipping cost into it and what the size of it is. It's a lot of different fees you've got to factor into it. Are you going to do promoted listings or not? So that's going to, that could take up to 1/3 of that, 1/3 of the chunk of whatever it is that the total value is. So that's what I do. I would try to get it for less than the third, but try not to exceed it.
Yeah, actually, that was my answer too. A lot of it is, what the item is, shipping and all that stuff. But when it boils down to the most that I'm going to spend is what Dom just said, is 1/3 of what it's going to be worth, because that's even just to double your money, basically, because all the rest of the other third is going to be wiped away and some other stuff, fees, taxes, blah, blah, blah. So,
right. But that's an early mistake that I think a lot of people new into reselling will make, is they'll say, "Oh, wow, look, this thing is worth, I could sell for $100. I bought it for 50. I'm gonna double my money." No, you're not, because wait till you see what happens once you list it.
with all them fees and
because you got to factor final value fees into it, all sorts of stuff.
And I am cheaper than all of them. I try and buy at 10%. And 20% is pretty high for me, unless, like JF said, and you guys have seen, I've been selling a lot of higher dollar stuff. So like my last $3,000 sale, I paid $800. Now I expected to get close to $4,000, so I still expected to get 5 times my money, but I turned down a $2,000 offer because it would have made it where at $2,000 I wouldn't have even doubled my money after fees. So I don't even think about the offer if it's really low. So if it's $1 and I can sell it for 10, I pay the $1. And I know a lot of people like to get stuff lower. I am a bundler too, like where I'll make a big pile, like Dom said, because then you can do like your average cost, and now your $100 item just averaged out at $2.
Right.
But I try and stay at 20% because this month it was really good. My cost of doing business was at like 38%, or at 28%, sorry, 28. So normally I run close to 40, and then with a 10% buy-in, that's 50%. So like in Dom's example, if I paid 50, I probably wouldn't make but like 10 after I figure out everything into it. So I try and go places where I can get it cheap or on the auction. So I don't have a lot of situations where I'm making offers, though I will. And don't be scared to tell people what you do. I have got stuff cheaper at yard sales and estate sales because I'm like, hey, I'm a reseller. I like this, but it only sells for this much. And I'll show them comps and that they have it overpriced, but not. That's why I like doing the auctions. I can research it. I know what the max I'm willing to pay, and I don't have to kind of negotiate. And I almost forgot. Here is your dolphin.
Super chat.
And I do see another super chat, but I'm going to grab a couple more questions from the chat and then I'll grab the super chat. Josie is asking me, should I'm assuming buy a necklace, shoot a necklace on a stand for a floato or flat lay? Honestly, for me, it depends on where I'm at and what I have. Because if I'm doing it in my little photo box on my lap in the living room, I don't use my stand. But if I'm out here in the shed and all my supplies are out here, I will do one photo on the stand because I think it gives people a little better perspective of what it looks like on somebody's neck. But I don't typically use that as my front photo. My front photo is normally just a flat lay of the necklace. So it just really depends on what I have. Look who's in the house, Dave, Midwest Picker. Thank you for coming, Dave. Dave wants to know if your significant others gets mad or makes fun of you if you source an item and then keep it.
So I haven't been able to source a significant other yet, so I can't really answer this question.
He's advertising people.
I've gotten offers, but yeah.
My Mrs. Primetime will get mad at me, but it's not for sourcing an item and then keeping it. It's usually for staying too long at the garage sale or estate sale. Then she comes up to me and says her famous saying, which is, "Could I have the keys?" So
That's funny. Actually, I'm completely opposite. Kayla gets mad at me because I move too fast. I'm like in and out of that garage sale.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm the guy who goes to the theme parks and like reads all the signs.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like that guy that runs through the theme park and is like, I got the fast pass. I'm out of here. But no, not keeping an item, no.
No, Brad actually gets proud of me if I keep something because I told you guys how I am. I keep nothing. So if I want to keep something, he's very, very supportive of it because I don't do it that often. And it's bad because some stuff I probably should keep because it's stuff I could use, and I'm still no, I'm gonna sell it. So yeah. All right. Any posh thing. Look at the picture with the dolphin.
There you go.
Look at that picture. That's amazing. All right. Here's your dolphin. I love it. I have to get me a picture like that this year. Here you go.
Super chat.
I absolutely love dolphins. I've not done the swim with the dolphin thing, and I'm in a state that has a ton of swim with dolphin opportunities, and I have not. I did the beluga whale. I swam with the beluga whale instead of dolphins. If only I had known then what I would be doing, then I would have a bunch of pictures. And I see that Steve Rakin Profit is in the house. Thank you so much, Steve, for stopping in. I do appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. Okay. Fartsack Jack, my good friend. He says it's sort of a question. He said he does eBay at work as part of his job. It's busy, and I wonder if he's saying it's busy at work for eBay and his personal eBay is in the tank. I don't know if I'm understanding that right. See what you guys think. And he's saying, how do I fix this, or do we have any advice?
So your question's not super clear, but what is clear is the fundamentals of just trying to get more sales and doing the right things over and over again. I mean, regardless if it's your work store or your store or whatever. So, I mean, sourcing the right kind of product, getting the right kind of price for it, making the right kind of listings, and just doing those kinds of fundamentals over and over and over. It'll get you out of a hump. And if you have a store subscription, you can have a promotion, like a 10% off on the store or whatever. So we run one every weekend, and you can modify your prices. And these are all just examples of things that you can do to boost sales.
I would say you got to find a way to become more efficient at eBay and ideally your work. your other work besides eBay. Plus, if there are things at your other work that you don't necessarily need to do, start eliminating those things if you want to focus more on eBay. Like in my job, there were all sorts of volunteer things that I was doing, and I eventually just stopped doing those things because I had done them plenty of times in the past and I wanted to focus on eBay. So I just stopped, and you got to be okay with that. So, um, there's ways to make more time. You got to sacrifice some things.
Yeah, and I would, if whenever mine are like tanking because I haven't like listed a lot, I will, because I don't run a lot of sales. I'll put a sale on, pretty hefty one at that, and then I'll delete, I'll end and then sell similar like a bunch. I do this a lot when I do vacation mode, and then when I come back, I'm talking like on that next day, I have stopped and resold, sell similar like 50 items. That's how many I'll do. Put a sale on it, and then I'll usually list 20 items, and it'll go back up to where it usually was.
Yeah, I
Usually,
think the
sometimes
big thing's discipline. Like, you need to, if you want it to work, you need to put the time into it, and just know that if you don't, it probably won't. So it's kind of like Dom was saying earlier, the whole prioritize and kind of maybe adjust things to get it where you want on everything. And everything they said will help, but the bottom line is putting more time into it. Like, you're not going to get something out of something that you're not investing yourself into, is a big thing. D wants to know if I have a video that shows how to set up a new store. I don't, and the reason for that is that it's as easy as just buying the store and then it's done. I will tell you guys, I started making my own categories and then I was like, forget this. And so I just now on my store, I use eBay's categories because I sell so much stuff. I'm like, I have like 100 categories, and it was too much. It was too much. So I don't have one, but does anybody do any of you guys have one on setting up a store?
I do not.
I don't.
Not really.
I think it's just buying the subscription, really, and then you have a store. It's like all of your listings are pulled in, and boom, you have a store.
Yeah, if you Google eBay, I'm assuming you're in America, you can do ebay.com. If you're in Canada, you can do ebay.ca, but just Google ebay.com subscription levels, and it's going to give you exactly what the differences are between the stores. But I mean, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. So you just pay for it and you get all the perks, and you just kind of learn as you go.
Beverly Graham, and I'm going to assume she's referring to shipping. How do you determine, I'm going to assume this is true shipping cost. If you do not pre-package your items, I cannot afford to make costly mistakes that will eat into my profits.
Yeah, so that is a good question. The age-old, should you do calculated shipping or do fixed shipping? So not gonna lie, almost every time we've done calculated shipping, we've regretted it, but it's different in Canada. So we kind of envy you guys on the shipping cost side of things. But I will say that, in my opinion, probably the best thing that you can do, like if you're selling some of the same categories of items, the same vein, figure out on average what that's going to cost you. Not every shirt weighs the same thing. Not every video game weighs the same thing. But I mean, without even looking at it, I can tell that a video game is typically somewhere between 100 grams and 200 grams. Sometimes they're less if they don't have a manual. Sometimes they're more if they're a steelbook. But other than that, they really fall into that range. And I know exactly how much that's going to cost me.
Yep.
But what you can do is figure out what the average is, keeping in mind that you're going to get charged fees on the shipping costs that you charge them. So you want to charge a little bit extra than what you're actually going to pay in shipping, because they kind of you get fees on fees and tax on tax, and it's just one of those things where if you're really not sure, put a little extra padding in your shipping cost, and what we've done before, package it, just as a trial run, and calculate how much it would cost to go all across the country, like as far as possible from you, like on the other side of your country, and that gives you the maximum that it could cost. And then calculate how much it would be if it was halfway, and then find kind of a happy middle in between. And if you're selling a lot of the same things, you can charge kind of in the same ballpark if you're using fixed shipping.
Yeah, my answer is very similar. It really comes down to experience, I think, is that if you have enough experience doing this, particularly if you're selling things often in the same category, you are just going to start to learn how much the shipping costs are for things based on weight. And, some things, like if it's media mail, that's just going to be a flat rate wherever it goes. But other things like first class mail, it's going to be, and priority is going to be region dependent. So you got to know where in the country you're situated. Are you centrally located? Are you on the coast that you got to factor in shipping it maybe from New York to California? Like Jeff just said, then you got to anticipate worst case scenario and work that worst case scenario into your costs.
When I started out, and I still do it, I just do all calculated shipping. And if you're worried about, a lot of times, if it's something like a board game, sometimes will get me, and a cowboy hat, like a nice cowboy hat will also get me. And a lot of times is I will, not now, but when I started, I would put it in the box with the packing material. I would measure the box, weigh the box, and then type it in. And then eBay calculates what's going to happen. But the board games and the cowboy hats, I've eaten like some money on all of those things because they're heavier than they look. The board games and the cowboy hats have to be in a way bigger box than they look.
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge,
they don't
right?
fold.
They don't.
Yeah,
They don't
crazy.
fold. I would say my first inclination, I think everybody knows I'm very blunt, and that's that if you're scared to lose money, you're probably not going to make any. If you're coming in this so worried you're going to lose money on shipping, you're going to be scared to list, you're not going to make as much money as you could, and you're going to lose money. Even the best of us occasionally will lose money on shipping. Not often. I'm not saying it's frequent, but it just weigh the item, put a box. You can pre-package it, but I could never fit 3,800 items in boxes, even in all 3 of my sheds. I could not fit them. So if you're a smaller operation, you could do it. I don't recommend people do, because what happens when somebody comes and buys 3 items and now you have to go unpackage all 3 items so that you can put them in a box together. But definitely, I'm a calculated shipping fan, and there are a lot of people that do fixed and a lot of people that do free, which is where definitely, like they said, figure it out. I'm in Florida, and California and Oregon people love to buy from me, and that is about as far as you can get from me. So that's one of the reasons I do calculated. And I would say if you don't want to package it up, then set the item on the scale, set the box on the scale, and set packing materials, and then you will know. And the biggest thing, depending on what you're selling, like Julian was saying with the cowboy hat, if that box goes over 12 by 12 by 12, you're getting into oversized shipping, and that's when you could lose a lot of money, not just a couple dollars. So you could lose $10 because it's in a 14 by 14 by 14. So just the biggest thing is to know if it's going to go in over a 12 by 12 box, then you better have some idea. With my big stuff, I typically add like 3 inches on each side, because I know I can cut a box down, and like 3 inches on each side of the item's enough to protect it, if that makes sense. But be a little scared, but don't be so scared that it prevents you from listing and making money, I guess is my point. Like, don't be careless with it. You definitely need to be accurate when you're doing your shipping. But if you lose money, you might make a little bit on the next one. You might be over on the next one. Darcy wants to know, an LLC, who has one and who doesn't, and get one or don't.
So we're not incorporated, but we are a registered business. Eventually we will be incorporated, but we're not quite. And again, tax laws are different in different states and in different countries. So of course, different here than it is over yonder. But we are not at the point yet where that makes sense. But there is a point where that makes sense. And I feel like if you reach that point, you're already going to know. But that's my opinion.
100% with the LLC. It's a great way to protect your personal assets. In case anyone tried to sue you, they cannot go after your personal assets. They can only go after your business assets. So that's very important. Also, it's important for it does help to establish credibility more. It makes things look more official. It makes you look more like a business, and I think when you have that set up, you start acting and thinking and behaving more like an actual business because of that. So I would suggest doing it. Also, I would also suggest, if you can, to try to go through an attorney who has experience setting up LLCs, as opposed to you run a risk if you try to do it online, like on one of those legal Zoom places, because they won't always do all the technical necessary things that you need. Sometimes, like for example, the LLC is supposed to be published in in a couple of local papers, and they might skip a step like that. So it's to make sure you get it done right, do it with someone who has experience. You might pay up a little bit more for it, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I'm a sole proprietor, so I'm not an LLC. And in South Carolina, I should be one because it's super easy to get, and the taxing is it's the same basically. And ours is pretty easy because I had one for another business, and it's super easy to get. It's not in South Carolina, it's not that big of a deal at all. So, but it is. Tom brings up a good point about lawsuits and stuff, liability purposes of separating your private assets from your business assets. That's the biggest, in my opinion, that's your biggest.
Right. And one other thing related to that, if you do set it up, make sure you're not mixing things into different accounts. Like make sure you're not paying for stuff from your business from your personal account, because then if someone did try to go after you and they saw you were doing that, then they would basically call your LLC essentially a fake LLC. It's just for show. You're not really operating it that way. So you've got to make sure if you set it up that way, you operate it that way.
Yeah, and in Florida, and this is where it goes to, it's different everywhere you are. In Florida, every year you have to publish your rules with their online board or something. My accountant does mine, but we, as of 3 days ago, are gonna be filing S Corp. I'm paying myself enough that my profit, I'm gonna be on the payroll technically. So until now, my payments to myself have been distributions of profit. Now I am going to go on payroll, and I'm going to pay Social Security and Medicaid through my own corporation. And that'll start here in the next week or two. So not on my taxes for this year, but next year. So when you get to a certain point, that's where the LLC, you need to look at possibly doing S Corp. But if you don't have an LLC, you're probably a ways away from the S Corp. And it took me 2.5 years, and I have people working for me. That's one of the biggest things. So I'll have work comp insurance and things like that, and just be all above board where I don't have any concern for anything as far as that, which is exciting and scary at the same time. He's messaging me stuff and I'm like, huh? So, but my accountant's great. And my accountant's actually a financial wealth advisor as well. So he kind of is multifaceted, which is nice. Tammy says she listed 10 Mary Kay in the past 2 days. One was taken down by a counterfeit rule. Will that count against me, and should I remove the rest? What is you guys' opinions?
Oh man, I hate those. So you have to look up. So eBay has a Vero list where, well, there's a few things. So there's the Vero list, which is a list. It's a program that they have to protect themselves against lawsuits, but that's not how they position it. But essentially, they're brands that you're not supposed to. They don't really have permission for you to list them on eBay. If you have multiple strikes, basically, if you get 3 strikes of the same kind, so if you would get 3 counterfeit strikes, they could suspend your account for a couple days or a couple weeks or whatever. We've only ever gotten 2, and they were in different, one was counterfeit. Well, they said it was counterfeit and it totally wasn't, but there's really not much that you can do unless the person making the claim against you is willing to play ball. It's up to you if you want to keep selling the ones that are there, but if they're the same kind of items, I'd probably take them off.
This literally just happened to us with a company called Lokai, L-O-K-A-I. I talked about it with Kat when she was on my show last week. My wife, Mrs. Primetime, put up a whole bunch of different listings that were the Lokai bracelets, and Lokai did a Vero claim on one of the listings, took them down, and I knew if she didn't take them down, they were going to take the other ones down. She was trying to decide what to do, and before she even had the chance to make the decision, they came and pulled every single listing down. When they take the listing down, you can't access it anymore. Your photos are gone, your description's gone, everything's gone. They only allow you to, quote unquote, it's not even really an appeal, but you could send an email out to the company that filed the Vero complaint, but normally they won't respond back to you, and then eBay won't and can't do anything about it. So you're basically stuck, and that's it's a bad situation. But if it happens to you, I wouldn't get those types of items again, because that is the number one thing I would tell you. Do not, if you get Vero items pulled down, do not go and take those same items and put them up again in a separate listing, because then you could lose your account. Because then, and it doesn't matter how many, because I see people say this all the time, but there's 300 other people that have a list. It doesn't matter. They didn't get to them yet, but you're on their radar for whatever reason. And if you put it up again, that's when, because see, when they initially take it down, they say to you in the email, well, you might not have been aware. So now you're aware. So once they serve you notice and then you act, then they could say you're doing it intentionally. And that's where you get in trouble.
Yeah, you really can't add too much on what they just said, but I would 100%. I had a couple Veros, or one Vero, and I took down all like items immediately, and that was the end of it, and I never listed them again or picked them up, and I sold them locally in a big lot.
And I got Vero'd for Mary Kay. It was not counterfeit, it was a Vero. And I had over $1,600 worth of items from Mary Kay, and I took them all down because eBay is my main income and I am not messing with it. And yes, I know. And there are other, like, I know Kevin Commonwealth Picker sells it. And I'm like Dom's saying, though, they're not on their radar for whatever reason. Me and Mary Kay and eBay were not getting along, and it was not worth it for me. So I took them down and sold them as a big bulk lot, and I do not list them anymore. I will not list Mary Kay. So yeah. We got a $5 super chat from Kelly Martin saying, you guys rock. Thanks for the great info. You are very welcome. Thank you for the super chat.
Super chat.
And another one, the Pokemon dentist. Brad would probably like this here. My husband is a Pokemon fanatic. So Pokemon Dentist says, new to your channel. Welcome to the channel, first of all. Thank you for being here. I mainly source from thrift and garage sales. What are other sources y'all source from?
Yeah, so awesome name, by the way. But so we, again, like I said, we don't really have as much access to garage sales and all that stuff here, especially during winter and all that stuff. So we do most of our sourcing on Facebook and Kijiji, which is like a competitor in like Craigslist or whatever. So online classifieds, we now have very good relationships with a few local stores that we get. I consider them a supplier, so we go every couple of weeks to go see them, and we will buy lots from them. And I haven't found anything good on there yet, but there's a website that I check for local storage units that are no longer, that are up for auction. And again, because it's a small place, there's not a lot available, but those are all, like, if you're in a bigger center, maybe there would be more of that available to you. And again, because it's a small place, there's not a lot available, but those.
Why did we hear that?
Like, if you're in a bigger center, maybe there would be more. So
Who's got YouTube on?
Someone's got YouTube on. I don't know. It was so good you had to hear it twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to take Julian's thunder away from him because he probably has some great places that he goes to. But my favorites are estate sales, flea markets, and private picks. So, and I set the private picks up through ads that I take out on Craigslist. And so, I post them on there, and I invariably get, several inquiries a month, especially when I post it new. That's when the most tend to come in.
Anywhere. Thrift stores, garage sales are my favorite because I like to negotiate with people, so that's always fun. Garage sales and yard sales and whatnot. Estate sales, they don't really negotiate around here too terribly much, but that's always good. I love high bid. If I'm really looking for a lot of decent inventory, like a lot, like I need a whole bunch, high bid is by far where I'm going. I'm not going to go to a whole bunch of yard sales. I'm going to sit online and I'm going to buy lots of lots and
Buy the whole house.
yeah, I'm going to buy everything. Because I have made some really good money on buying like attics, closets, linen closets, whole kitchens, because that's how they do it in my area. Sometimes they'll just throw everything for sale in this one closet, and it's
The whole room.
the whole room, and that's the way to go. Found a lot of treasures in there.
And that's mine as well. High bid is my main source of stuff, and especially my higher dollar stuff is mainly from online auctions. And yeah, I do thrift and garage sales, but not very often. Online auctions is definitely my favorite. And here is your dolphin. Thank you so much.
Super chat.
All right. You have to get above the fence again. Susan Collins, I'm having a lot of time management issues. I'm a registered nurse who works 5 days a week as a school nurse and a mom of 6. Do you allocate set days to listing or set days to go sourcing? I've been trying to do 5 listings a day.
Yeah, great question. Like time management is possibly the most important part of like whether you're full time or part time. So the first thing I would suggest is doing something that they do a lot in businesses, and it's take a piece of paper and write out what you would like your week to look like. So some businesses call it the perfect week. I like to call it the ideal week. So like if you had a really good week, what would that look like? What's your schedule like? Because I mean, you said you're a mom, you've got work, like, so that takes up a lot of chunks of time. But so when there's some space, or where do you need to make some space, and you just need to stick to it, right? And it's one of those things we easily, like for me, if it's not on my schedule, it doesn't happen. Like I'm that kind of guy. Like I schedule everything to some degree. I use blocks of time. I have a schedule that I use for listing and sourcing and all that, but we do it full time. And like Julian, I kind of treat it as a job. So in the sense that I have certain days that we do certain things. So that makes sense for me, but everybody's schedule is so different. You need to do what works for you. And if five listings a week is what you can do, as long as you do that every week, do that for as long as you can. And then if you can get to 10 and to 15 and whatever. But if you start with your ideal week and you can kind of like plan the week ahead of time and be like, all right, I need to make sure I have an hour carved out either before the day starts or after everyone else is asleep, kind of thing. And
like Jeff said, everyone's schedule is different. Mine is really dynamic. Every day is different. Every week is different from one to the next. But from the sense of the question I got, this was, I believe someone had more of a regimented schedule. So it's going to be pretty similar, maybe every day of the week. And so if you have that set core time that you have to dedicate to that full-time job or to that other part-time job that you need, then you focus on being maximally efficient in that job during that time frame. Like I said earlier, cut out things that you don't necessarily need to do, delegate things to other people, and then figure out where is that, like JF said, where's that window of time then that you have free for yourself? Is it late at night? Is it later than night than you normally would stay up? Can you sacrifice an extra hour and stay up a little bit later, or wake up an hour earlier? Is 5 listings necessarily what you really want to do if they're all $9.99 items? Or maybe it makes more sense to do a CAD set and put up 2 listings that are $100 each. So you also have to look at financial goals as well that you might want to accomplish. So That's what you've got to do, is really just try to, figure out where that window is and then how to maximize it. And again, if you missed it, I do have 2 videos on my channel, one on organizational tips and another one on time management tips. And if you have ADHD, for those of you who don't know, I work full-time as a neuropsychologist. I do have a video on ADHD tips for resellers. So, because I know I've had a lot of people mention to me over the years that they have ADHD or ADHD-like symptoms. So that's available too.
Efficiency would be like my key here. I would say know like the items that you want to list, like say you already have them, and have them already prepped, and using stuff like I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of photo room. You can take pictures basically anywhere with decent lighting. You can go ahead and just chop the backgrounds off, save them to your phone, and then later on when you have a spare moment, when you're sitting in the car, you're picking somebody up and you got 10 minutes, you can get that listing done right there. So everything's kind of saved on your phone. That's what I do now. I never used to batch photograph. And now, like today, that's all I did. I photographed and I went someplace, and wherever I have a spare minute, I would sit there and list a couple items. And throughout the day, I listed 20 or 30. So,
Yeah. And I would say, like Dom said, either like if you can stay up like an hour late and put a little bit of time, like here, because Dalton goes to bed with me, it's getting up early. So I get up before him, and then I can get quite a bit done before he wakes up. If I was doing a Monday through Friday thing, I would do my sourcing on the weekend. I wouldn't try and fit it in during the week. But if like that's one of the reasons I like high bid, because I can source and then I pick up a whole car full of inventory that will last me over a month. And then I don't have to worry about that. And you're working Monday through Friday. So like, I don't know if you have the luxury of an hour. I'm lucky to get a half-hour lunch at work, but I always have photos on my phone so that like Julian said, you could list while you're eating your lunch or on your lunch hour and get that done. And if you're a nurse there and you have time in between students, you might be able to get a couple listings there too. So I think like really trying to maximize like the time that you have. So if you have those photos on your phone, and as far as sourcing, like the thing about thrifting and garage sales is you don't know if you're going to find anything or if you're going to find a bunch. That's what I don't like. But on high bid, I know I've bid on X amount of items. I'm driving. I might have to drive 2 hours, but I know I'm filling up my car and there's no like wasted time there. So that's how I would work it. Hustle Man wants to know, and I can't answer this because I only use an accountant, but has anybody used both of these? Are QuickBooks and GoDaddy the same? Like, can anybody reference them against each other?
No, I can't tell you.
I don't know.
I can't tell you, but I really like QuickBooks. So Team QuickBooks.
Yeah, and I don't use either. Carla, can you just pick a business name and how do you establish it on eBay and other platforms? I'm going to just answer this. You, like in Florida, you can get a DBA, a doing business as, and that would give you your business name. And then what I would suggest if you're trying to like build a brand is go put that name onto all of the platforms. Like my name's the Nurse Flipper on... Like I had it on Mercari, I have it on Poshmark, I have it on eBay, Instagram, Facebook. And on eBay, you can change your name, guys. Don't go make a new account just to start a new name, because if you already have feedback, you can just change your name. Now they only allow, I think, once a year. You can't like keep changing it, so you need to know what you want it to be. But then you could still keep your feedback. Does anybody have anything else to add?
On picking a business name? I mean,
she's asking, can you just pick it? I mean, yeah, as long as nobody else has it.
Right.
So for a lot of people, they don't even pick a business name. They just use whatever their username is. Like for the first 4 months that we were doing eBay, we just had my business partner Jeremy's username, which was fine, but then we cooked up a name and we threw Resale Heroes branding on everything. And I mean, but there's some names that I don't want to say they're inappropriate, but they're just weird. or like they're not inviting. You know what I mean? Like they're and I don't want to give an example because
You know when you see it.
yeah,
when you see it, yeah.
And choose a picture that is like, even if you find it on Google, that's fine. Just choose a pic, like an avatar or whatever for your store that at least looks like the things you're selling, or like, not you know what I'm saying.
Like if your name is
look serious.
If your name is FU Resellers and your
Right,
picture,
yeah.
you give
Yes.
it sort of middle finger, that's not a good idea. So
Yes.
True that.
Yes.
Guys, I want to say I see, and my guests have probably already seen them, but I'm like way behind in the chat, and there's no way we're getting through questions tonight. But like all of these specific questions about what is deductible, do not ask us and do not ask people in the chat. You need to talk to an accountant.
Mhm.
And I'm not being mean, but it's a legal thing, and I would hate for somebody to get in trouble writing off something that they legally are not allowed to. So make sure to at least consult an accountant or look up laws. Or I don't want to give tax advice, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep.
But a lot more things are deductible than what you would think, which is where an accountant comes in. Like if you find a good accountant, they will pay for themselves and what they save you on taxes.
Yeah.
The best, one of the best decisions, probably the best decision I ever made, was to go and shift to an accountant rather than doing my own taxes. Oh my gosh, I can't even. Every year I do it, I'm so happy.
Yeah, for sure. Aunt B, and I'm going to assume this one's for me because I'm the one doing the Facebook Marketplace shipping. I list only on Facebook Marketplace. I don't list into groups because I am not trying to sell locally. I have no time to deal with people not showing up and being wishy-washy. And so I actually put all my items to ship only and not local pickup.
We are opposite. I think it depends on the area.
Yeah, you do your furniture, right?
Yeah, we do. We do furniture with local flipping, and for whatever reason in my area, it's crazy. I mean, we put furniture up, and it's usually gone within days, and people drive hours to come pick it up. So I don't know, but other stuff we put up will sit there forever. But the furniture, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it really is location specific. Some people rock it as far as local sales. I just am kind of in the middle of nowhere, so driving to meet someone is like a 20-minute ordeal, and if they don't show up, you've got an hour wasted for absolutely nothing. So it's not like we're in a big area where we just have to drive 5 minutes or something. Randomly beautiful collectibles. Yes, eBay gives a report on the fees on your seller hub. You can go to performance and summary, and it'll break it down every month for you exactly what your shipping was, what the taxes were, what your everything was. Everything. Hold on. Crochet JF. Is it easier or harder, in your opinion, selling from Canada?
Yeah, so I answered it in the chat, but I think it's harder. Like, it's definitely possible, but it's mostly so a lot of the taxation stuff is all automated in the States, and it's not here. So in Canada, we need to collect the tax ourselves. Oof. And then we need to deal with eBay, and then we need to remit it to the government, and then you need to give proof of things, and it's just this whole thing. But it's mostly the shipping cost is a lot more. Like when every time I come on these shows and we talk about shipping costs, people cringe. It's like my shipping cost is twice as much as everyone else. And anytime we get anyways, but it's definitely possible. So I mean, I don't want to sound negative, but it is more like it's more expensive to ship. So you need to be more picky, and you need to understand what costs what. And that's part of the reason why we sell a lot of small stuff, because going from selling this phone could cost $3 to ship, and shipping this cup could cost me $15 because it doesn't fit in their little, dimensions that they have. So
yeah. Dom, did you see this one in the chat? How do you determine which comics to grade or not grade?
Basically, what I would suggest is you really need to understand how to grade comic books. If you don't already have it, I'm looking around to see if I have it here, but there's a great comic book. It's an Overstreet Guide to Grading Comic Books. You should definitely pick that up. Be very familiar with it. Then go do some comp searches and look at the difference between what the cost is in terms of how much you're going to be able to sell it, how much you're going to be able to sell it for if it came back graded conservatively, what you think it would come back as versus if it didn't. And then you look at the price differential there. And if that price differential is substantial, and I'm talking like many hundreds of dollars, and you're very, very sure that that's going to happen, then it could be worth sending it out. Sometimes the difference could be thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, although that's rare. Depends on what you find. In most instances, it is not worth sending it out to get graded. In most instances, I already buy them graded, and then I sell them at a higher price later on. But it really depends on what you find, and you've got to make sure you're looking at that differential, because just being off by 0.2 points in the grade can make a massive difference in terms of what you're going to be able to get the book for. And anticipate, by the way, it's going to come back lower than what you think it's going to come back as. So you got to factor that in too. Plan worst case scenario into your estimations there.
And then Red Dirt wants to know what editing software you started using, Dom.
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier that I was hesitating for a while, upgrading to an editing software for my YouTube videos that I wanted to get into for a while, because every time I looked at it and got behind it, I felt like I was learning how to fly an airplane. So I knew it's just very intimidating looking. I was like, oh, it wasn't that I didn't think I could do it. It was that I just knew I was going to have to commit the time to it. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos which talked about it and said that, you know, it's a big learning curve, but it's Adobe Premiere Pro for Windows users, PC users. People who have Macs usually will use like Final Cut Pro, but I've been overjoyed with it. Been using it for the last 2 weeks of my videos, and if you've been watching them, you know it's made a massive difference. So I am very, very happy and just starting to get used to using it.
All right, Jack's Treasures. I've been decluttering like crazy, and honestly, I'm tired of taking stuff to Goodwill. Has anyone had any luck with doing curb alerts on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist to get rid of random stuff?
Anytime I list something for free that I want to get rid of, it's usually gone the same day or maybe the next day. People love free stuff. Like I could charge $5 for it and no one would ever come for it. And if I charge $0, they'll come and pick it up. So if you're looking to really give it away, if you take the time to list it, people will come pick it up. So it'll save you the drive. But some places will actually come to your house and pick up the donations depending on what it is. So, I mean, if you want to take the time to call around, and they'll schedule an appointment and they'll come at that time. Or if you want to donate to your local reseller, go crazy.
By me, if you put an ad out that says there's free stuff, it's like throwing chum into a pool of great white sharks. It's gone in seconds. But on the reverse, I would also use it as an opportunity to source. That's what I really do. So that's how I've gotten a lot of great stuff. If you haven't used the app, free stuff alerts, I have a video on that. It's amazing. And I've gotten just a lot of great stuff from there that I've been able to flip for some really good returns. So check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, I use this a lot to get rid of large bulk things I need just gone gone within like 30 seconds. But also if you want to donate it, or I don't know, like Art Salvation Armies will pick up. You just got to call them, tell them what you have, and they just have to be in your county. You can't, like another county won't come over and pick that stuff up.
Yeah, I use Facebook Marketplace. We have a word of mouth for our county. And contrary to selling things, if I put stuff for free, they will come to my house and pick it up really fast. And I do that. Not as much lately, but when I was buying a lot of like the attic and linen, and I didn't get any attic lots. Like I'm thinking what Julian got, but like linen closets and box lots that had a lot of lower dollar stuff I didn't want to list. And I found someone I liked, and I was just using the same people. So whenever I got a good amount, I would just message them on Facebook and they would come take it. And my big thing with people when I do that is you cannot pick through it. Like you take everything or you take nothing. There's no, like, it's free. So you're getting it. It's all or nothing to make sure that I got rid of everything that I wanted to get rid of. So Craigslist isn't too big around here. So I just use the word of mouth for my county. Mr. Richard, what is the hardest thing to learn when reselling and how did you get over
it? It was more work than I first expected. And the growth was also like we're a big store and we're doing really good, but we had talking about goals at the beginning of the show. There's kind of three kinds of goals. There's like goals that are in your comfort zones, which are too easy. Then there's goals that are in your discomfort zone, which are like a good place to be. Then there's goals that are in the delusional zone, which are like on the moon. So we kind of realized that you have to course correct as you go. But other than that, the hardest thing for me, it like spears my heart when we get a return or when we get like we need to refund somebody for something stupid, or like when something gets there and it doesn't work, even though we tested it and it was working fine. So like sometimes it feels like we're bleeding out $5, $20, $40. But I have to constantly remind myself that those are just one-offs. And I mean, I'll have 150 transactions that went well that week and maybe one or two that didn't. And like, it's such a small percentage of the transactions, but sometimes it's easy to get lost in what's going wrong that you don't see all the stuff that's going right. And especially when, if reselling is your dream, right? So it's like, you might sometimes feel like you're taking a step back, but you have to not see it like that.
Well, so this question really makes me think back because it's like towards the beginning and stuff, and I remember getting frustrated early on with shipping and trying to navigate shipping. And if you make the mistake early on when you dive into it of literally just trying to buy your shipping labels at the post office, you're going to realize really fast that it's going to be very hard to operate your business and you're going to lose a lot of money. I remember literally going up and asking to speak to the postal manager and saying, how is it possible that this is how much it costs to ship out, like, let's say a medium priority flat rate box at the time, whatever the crazy cost was. I was like, how is that possible? How do people do this? How could they run a business? Like, I just didn't get it. And then I said, there's got to be a way. And what I would suggest in any area that you're trying to learn and get into, I don't care what it is, if it's like me learning a new computer software or you're trying to learn a new niche, just dive into it. Just dive into it and immerse yourself in it and just study the subject area and become a master of it. And that's ultimately what I started to do with shipping. I turned something that was a weakness into a skill. And that's what I would suggest everyone do.
I definitely agree with the shipping thing because that is kind of like when you start out very confusing on how the poundage, the sizes,
Right.
It's all confusing. But that's a solid answer. Mine, it would be seriously like when I started, I hadn't thrifted a lot or whatnot, and it was basically like how to look up sold comps on the difference between like what's for sale and what's selling and what will sell. So now I'm pretty good at, say that should sell in this time frame or something like that. When I first started, I was just picking up things that I thought, hey, this is cool. I would buy this. So I would think that somebody in eBay land would buy it. That's not at all how that works out. So I had to get through my own brain. That was the hardest thing, of pick up things that are on paper good pickups instead of picking up things that I like to pick up and saying that they'll sell.
Yeah.
Because I still have those
and
items.
I think like you after doing it a while can know I like this and it will sell. But in the beginning, if you haven't been selling it, like I did the same thing, like, and not everybody likes what I like. But I would say kind of similar to JF is like it, and it's still hard to like, you have to learn to accept that like it's business, it's not personal. So like those returns, it's really hard not to like let them get to you, but it's just a part of doing business and it's gonna happen and you just have to let it go and move on. And like it's hard not to like go back at them because you're like, no, it worked when I sent it. You know, it, you just kind of got to accept it as a cost of doing business, and just know that it's gonna happen sometimes. And the same thing with like losing shipping sometimes. It's gonna happen. You learn from it, you move on. So I think the biggest thing for me is learning that like reselling is business. It's not personal, and separating the two and treating it as such. I don't know if anybody answered Miss Sheila in the chat, but Miss Sheila with she's asking where to put her item number on the eBay listings. The last thing in item specifics, if you're on your phone, is the custom SKU SKU, and you can put where your item is located. And on the computer, it comes right under the subtitle. It says custom label, and you can put that so you know exactly where it is.
Yep.
And I see a lot of questions repeated, which I'm totally fine with, guys, but just know I'm very like I'm at 8:40 right now to let you guys know. So I'm over an hour behind on the chat.
The chat has been flying tonight.
Peggy wants to know if anyone has a video using Photo Room. I think Dom does, and I will have one coming out Friday as well. Does anybody else have one? You have one, right, Dom?
I do. It doesn't say photo room in it. I mean, I could link to it if anyone wants, but I do have one. Yeah.
And I answered Nishana. She messaged me on Instagram as well. I'm not running sales or promoting yet on Etsy because I'm just getting my feet wet. So like the last 2 times I tried it, I think I didn't even put 5 items up. Right now, I think we have 130 up. I'm probably going to wait until I get about 500 items up before I even think about running any promotions or doing anything like that. So it's basically, I just kind of need to get used to that platform and see how I do, and whether or not it's going to work. And well, I mean, it's a matter, I think with Etsy, I might end up having to suck up my no descriptions and like write descriptions, which I really don't want to do. I think that's kind of the bottom line for me. But yeah. So Christy wants to know, do any of us track our inventory and how do we track it?
I'm not really sure exactly what you mean.
I think she means like, do you have a physical inventory list somewhere that is not on a platform?
No. So I mean, everything we have is everything that we have listed is in its relatively proper place. We don't have like a custom labeling system or anything like that, but we have all the Xbox games in the same section and they're in alphabetical order. And you know, like everything, it's relatively organized, and but we don't have a special system for it. But we do know how much we pay for everything, so we keep the accounting on how much we've paid for everything and all that stuff. But it would just to put things in perspective, we have like close to 14,000 items in our store. So it would just be unfathomable to have a list of everything we have. When we need to look at the list we have, we look at our listings. We look in our listings to find it. Yeah, so but that's just us.
Same thing. I mean, with the amount of volume that I have, there's just no feasible way for me to just type out like every single postcard that I have, for example. So I have everything accounted for like in bulk that I purchased when I purchased it. I have that available. And if I needed for some reason, if someone called me out, I needed to backtrack and say how many postcards did I sell this month, how many comics did I sell this month, and then I could go back and subtract it if I needed to. But you know, that's it.
I'm the exact same way. I can tell you the monthly amount I've spent on all my inventory, but there's no sheet. There's no little piece of paper, or big piece of paper that tells me what everything is.
Yeah, and her and I had this discussion. She knows I do not. I do money in, money out, and keep track of where it is on my eBay. Kay is over on Facebook. Is it cheaper to use eBay postage rather than the post office? Absolutely. I believe most of it is at least like a 30% discount that you'll save by printing from eBay at home versus if you bring it to the post office, which is quite a big difference. You know, when you're talking, that's how, like, for me, that percent discount is what covers my box and my bubble wrap and things like that, and is how I'm able to do it. Tommy, you have not heard this story? Did Kat sell chickens on eBay? I sold hatching eggs on eBay and I shipped them.
Awesome.
And I had rare chickens and I sold like a dozen eggs for over $100. And I also bought them. I bought them on eBay. So yes, I sold chickens on eBay.
That sounds like a counterfeit claim waiting to happen.
Listen, it's hard because, like, depending on how the post office handles it, they won't have it's people would only buy them if they're really rare and they could get them nowhere else.
Sure.
Like, that was the only way. You couldn't go put like regular stuff. It's a whole different world. It's a whole I don't want to talk about it. Then I'm going to think I need to go get my commercial incubator and start hatching chickens again. And I have enough going on.
Sounds like a
I have
plan.
plenty going on. Katrina Watson, to connect pirate ship to eBay, it's just a button. You just sign into your eBay and it'll link and pull it in, and then it'll update the tracking number and everything for you when you purchase it there. Where do we store our stuff?
Well, Mr. Hitler, we store our stuff. So up until for our first year, we were running our store out of a garage. And in this summer, we upgraded to basically the bottom half of a house. So we store it in our houses. So we have shelves, and we have a room about twice the size of my office that we custom built a bunch of rows of shelves. It's like a labyrinth of shelves. Super cool. And you can stack, it was built to stack media. So games and DVDs, and we've got thousands of them. So we do it at home. We don't rent. So we save on that overhead.
I removed that person, by the way, because it was a ridiculously offensive name to use in a live chat for.
I agree. That's why I popped it right back off after I saw it.
Right. So just to let you know. So I don't even know if you want me to answer the question. It's up to you, Kat.
I don't care. I don't care either way.
We could skip to the next one.
Okay. Charlotte, and I think does anybody else sell pillows besides me before I assume this is for me?
I sold 2 pillows one time. The Polo Ralph Lauren's with the teddy bear on them.
That means you're a pro. You're a pro at pillows. Are throw pillows a good item to sell if you're good with picking out what will sell? And what do I mean by that? I mean, you need to pick out stuff that you can keyword. Like, I sell the floral Victorian embroidered pillows all the time. But not just any, and like, I wouldn't get like plain throw pillows. If you can find like stuff that's the beach, the nautical themes, the antique vintage embroidered stuff like that, that is stuff that will. So it's easy, but you have to think pillows don't squash very much either, and that's going to be a lot of space. I don't know if Sandy's in here. One of my members, she bought a lot of pillows. We found them on HiBid, and it was her whole truck bed full plus more. So she comes home with a truck bed full of pillows to her husband, and then she's like, oh, I have to go get the rest tomorrow. So she still had even more. But so they can take a lot of space. Duncan, you were really not in the doghouse because you helped me a lot. But it's fun to say that you're in the doghouse.
Duncan, you're in the doghouse on my channel, just so you know.
You're in trouble, Duncan. You're in big trouble, mister. Robin said she used to be able to get eBay customer service, call her back. Is it possible? I have not had good luck. Has anybody else had good luck getting eBay on the phone?
Well, there used to be, I had actually done a video called How to Get eBay on the Phone. And there was a there was a function on the bottom of their screen that you used to be able to click, and that would allow you to get a call back, and they would call you back really fast on that.
But that's
last
gone,
time
isn't it?
last time I looked, it was gone. So after I made the video, they took it down.
This is how you do it. Oh, never mind.
Right. Now, if you
Many
do
people called them.
yeah, if you do have an anchor store, there is a phone number that you can get that you can call somebody, and you could get like high level customer support. You won't be sent overseas or anything like that. If you don't have an anchor store, you technically could still call that number and they'll help you, but eBay doesn't want you really putting that number out publicly. But there is a number out there that you could find. Let me just say it that way. And that's probably the best way. But I don't want to say it on Cat's show, for example. You know, they don't want it. They don't want it said in a public show.
So
They don't want it everywhere.
It's still possible to get a call back, but in the choices,
You have to pick the exact right things on your little drop down.
There's a lot of the options that no longer have the callback option.
Yes.
So you have to pick a certain one, regardless of if that's what you're really calling about. They'll call you, and then you figure it out from there. But they're trying to make it more automated.
It's been so long since I did this. Does anybody know a way that's easy to tell her to change from 8x10 to 4x6? I think it's actually on the platforms. It's not like a printer setting, because you need the platforms to formulate it to 4x6. Does anybody know where it's at?
I had to YouTube that because I had that issue.
I had to YouTube a lot about my Dymo when I first got it. It was not.
But you're right. It's somewhere on that platform. But I forget.
Yeah.
I can't off the top of my head. I don't know.
Kelly's saying, with vintage linens, have you found a good method for removing brown stains? I am gonna try, and I don't know if Zahira is in here. Zahira and I were talking about this because she bought my last lot of linens. I don't know if you can see, I have really old baby clothes up there that when I comp them, and you guys know I am not a let me scrub it and fix it kind of person, but some of those baby outfits go for like $65 a piece. And so I will be YouTubing to try and figure it out. And Zahira, I think, said she saw somebody said like OxyClean and water. Does anybody else have any possible suggestions? And I'm going to try with those baby clothes because they're worth so much. You know, I figure it's worth the time if I can get them out.
I don't want to say something and someone ruins their clothing using one of my suggestions. So I don't have a foolproof method, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, and like mine trying that, I if it ruins them, it ruins them. But Dolores, to find out if the name you're using, just simply search it. Deborah wants to know, not sure about how to, I don't know if it's for me. Somebody gave me a name I am following. Hold on, there is a YouTuber. Let me see if I can find her. She is an only Etsy person. Now I can't find her. If somebody knows her name, I'm sure there's lots of only Etsy, but somebody sent me her name, and now I'm scrolling and she's not there, of course. But I need to start watching, because she basically does like I do for eBay for Etsy. And if I'm going to learn it and try to master that platform, I need to watch people who are already mastering that platform. As far as like what tactics they use, and that's where I think like I heard like the tags and keywords on Etsy are big, and I'm not doing any of that. So I have views right now. I have like 600 views on 130 items, but no sales. And she's asking if anyone else is on Etsy.
Nope. I looked into it once, but I decided against it.
I did too, until I X'd out Mercari, and now I need another platform, so I'm going to try it again.
Right.
Troy wants to know, and I think JF would probably be the best guy to answer this one. If you sell used DVDs, do you do anything to clean them up or repair the scratches?
Yeah, so we sell a lot of media, and so some CDs and DVDs are just dirty. like just really dirty. They're not even really that scratched. They're just really dirty. And I mean, I just washed them. Like, wow, I mean, you take a little water and like just a cloth, and you can wash.
So you don't have like that
But
JDJ.
if it's really scratched, we don't have a JFJ disc resurfacing machine. They're currently sold out, but we're basically having our eye out for one, and we'll get one soon.
They're expensive though, right?
Yeah, they're like $300 American from the website.
Right.
On eBay, they might be a little more. But we go to a local game shop, and we only get DVDs. Well, we don't really get DVDs repaired, but we'll get games repaired. If something's worth like $15 or more, we're willing to pay $2 or $3 to get it fixed. But you have to know if it's worth it for you. I mean, obviously, we're going to repair a $30 or $40 or $50 game. But sometimes you just need to throw it out. Or actually, I don't do that. Make a bundle of CDs
For somebody who's going to go repair them.
Yeah, and when you have 50 of them, list them for sale, and you can make your money back on those games.
So the name of that YouTuber is Kara Buntin. She only does Etsy. KARABUNTIN. Only Etsy. So I have started watching some, not enough, and I've been sick, so I have not been able to concentrate or think, obviously. But I'm like in a fog, so hopefully I will be back with it and be able to watch her tonight. Not tonight. Listen, I can't even like think to talk. I'm trying to find the next question. I can't multitask as well as I normally do. Terry, that is awesome. She got a dolphin. So at the auction, the local auction, like people leave stuff they don't want. So at the end of it, you can like get stuff free. And she got this dolphin free and already sold it really fast, which is awesome. Free is like my nemesis and how I end up with like a giant death pile. Like, you know.
Actually, we were talking earlier what we were collecting, and I was kind of wondering how your death pile collection is going.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. I'm well over half through it. And like the big lot that I got, the last one, which is what that $3,000 piece sold from, everything is listed from that. Like it was a big haul. I've listed everything. It was listed within a week of picking it up, even being sick. And like stuff is already selling. I'm already in the profit on it. My niece hasn't been because like with me being sick, I told her not to come because we've been passing this crap back and forth. And I'm like, we need to, like, nobody needs to come. And it sucks because my mom's not cross posting. My niece isn't listing because I don't want to get them sick. And then we're passing this crap back and forth, which is what I think happened and how I got it again, unfortunately. Look, I'm at 9 o'clock. Listen, and we're like past the quick fire. So we'll just do a few more. And I know, Dom has his premiere coming up at 10:30. So just following this, and I'm gonna, my computer's not letting me type. Dom, are you a mod where you can drop it?
Yeah, I just got to go find it.
That's what I was trying to do, and my computer won't let me. Now it's letting me type. I'm like, what in the heck? So we'll answer a few more questions for you guys, and then Dom has his. We have over 640 people still watching, guys. So definitely hit the thumbs up. Thank you, guys. We were at 700, which is absolutely amazing, and I'm happy with that for the first show of the year. That is absolutely amazing. Did I just take a question off that we didn't answer? I think I did. I'm not with it, guys. I'm not.
Someone didn't make the cut.
I did not purposely cut that off. MN Web Source, do you guys work other jobs before you became full-time resellers? Not all of us are full-time resellers. And if so, what got you to make the move?
Yeah, so I was working full-time up until April of this year. And without going into too much detail, I mean, it's not the same. I've always wanted to own my own business, and it's obviously very different working for an employer than it is working for yourself. It's not necessarily easier, it's just different. And so there's something about something that belongs to you as opposed to helping someone else make their money. And it just made sense for me, the timing and money wise and all that. And it's an important decision. And I will say though, so we talked a little bit about fear earlier in the thing. Most people would never make that kind of choice because of fear and because they don't know enough or they don't, whatever. So it made sense for me, but it wouldn't make sense for everybody necessarily who, like everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually work full time as a neuropsychologist. I run a medical website called medfriendly.com. It's an online medical dictionary, a blog associated with that as well that I spend a lot of time on. And I do the reselling and I do the YouTube. So it's a lot to balance out, but basically I've been doing a reselling for over 20 years, but I decided to jump more intensely into it about 3 or 4 years ago because I was mid-career in what I was doing and I wanted something new and stimulating and a new challenge. And the YouTube angle of it was definitely a big challenge and continues to be. So I'm having fun doing that and reselling the stuff that I love.
I did have a regular job. I had like an actual career for 10 years and I was set up. I could have definitely been probably chief of police where I was and all this great stuff. But it's really more importantly about being mentally like happy.
Yep.
And so basically I saw an opportunity. I know my work ethic. This is a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. Like you only see what we put out on YouTube and you only see what you see on Instagram, but there's a lot that goes behind the scenes in doing this. It's for full time. It is a ton of work. I work a ton, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So but you have to know yourself. You have to know your own situation. And I saw an opportunity and I took it.
Yeah. And I'm still working nursing 2 days a week. For me, I built it up until I had enough regular income coming in from it to feel comfortable to go part-time. So I'm part-time nursing and the majority of my income does come from reselling. That's what's pretty much paying most of my bills now. But like everybody said, you definitely have to be self-motivated for sure and be driven, because if you're not going to make yourself work, you're not going to make any money and it just won't really matter. Okay. One more question, and I got nowhere near answering all the questions, guys. I'm sorry. We are live every Tuesday, and next week we are going to have Brickbucks, Shane, and Richard Otnip Draw Flips, our lovely moderator, will be on the show with us. And then the following week will be Niche Lady and Tiffany Thrifting Vegas. So we'll answer this real quick, and then Dom has his premiere coming up at 10:30. And then what times are live tomorrow night with Tommy and Tracy, Dom?
That is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to that. And also, yeah, the video tonight's going to be a lot of fun. I put a lot of work and research and a lot of interesting edits into it. There's a lot of good educational information in it. It's the blonde bombshell bolo video. So check it out. It talks about one of my highest priced sales last month and a lot of things that you could look for based on this person in many different product areas that you could come across. It can make you a lot of money. So,
which is cool. Yeah, and that'll be following this, guys. And we dropped the link in the chat.
Thank you.
And Kim's question is pretty simple. 2021 was my first year of reselling. Will eBay be sending me a statement for tax purposes? Is it still the $20,000 for 2021 to get a 1099, or did they switch it to the $600 if you're on managed payments? Does anybody know?
For 2022, I know it's a 600. For 2021, I don't remember.
So they might or might not, depending on, but legally you still need to report it whether or not they send you that 1099 or not, just FYI.
Right.
So definitely, sorry guys, I am all over the place because I'm not feeling too hot, guys. I took off tomorrow too, because I plan on taking a lot more naps tomorrow to get ready to go back to work on Thursday. But definitely follow both of these guys. I'll go ahead and make them big and let them say bye. And then everybody make sure you go over to Dom's channel for the premiere here in about 20 minutes. Richard dropped the link, I think, and Dom and I dropped it. Or you can just search his channel too.
Yeah, I normally don't do late premieres like this, but everyone's always asked me to do a Primetime After Dark, which we call PTAD. So this topic was perfectly appropriate for it. So this is the first official one, and I'm glad to kick it off after coming on your channel, Kat. Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Making history again.
We are always. JF, anything coming up? Like, do you know when your next video is coming out or what you got going on?
Yeah, I have a video collaboration with another YouTuber coming up Thursday, 5 Eastern, and we're talking about making goals and actually making time and time management and all that stuff. And it's like a 50-minute video, so there's plenty of information there.
And that'll be on your channel?
Yeah, on my channel.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Julian, anything? I'll have my video out tomorrow at 8:30, so mine will be out right before Dom goes live with Tommy and Tracy tomorrow night, and that'll be list perfectly. And the winners of the $100 Amazon gift cards that I'm giving away for hitting 20 grand. I wish 20 grand for hitting 20,000 subscribers. I really cannot think. Julian, are you on every other? So are you?
I'm on every other. So tomorrow's my day. 7 o'clock, right before Cats. So watch mine if you would. Then skip over to Cats.
We're like stacking.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming out. Again, over 600 in the chat. We really appreciate it. We will see you guys over on Dom's premiere, and then we will see you next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.